Morning, guys. Here's what we're looking at today. It's actually a manufactured home. It's got a steel frame underneath. This was actually wheeled in, mobile home. Modular home. First thing I noticed, the porch is back pitched, putting the water right to the house. And typical modular home, this actually has particle board subfloor. And the subfloor is actually part of the main floor in the house, so some of that water is going inside the house. Love pulling these logs away from the house. There it is, a little hidden crack. Was that done on purpose? Who knows? That block wall is actually what they call skirting. This one's a little bit different because the steel frames of the outside of this actually sit a little bit on the block. So the fact that that crack's there actually means something. We'll just have to wait and see if we've got some sloped floors inside. And they've added this vinyl siding. They didn't flash it right around the windows so that water's getting right in behind there. Some broken glass. This house is actually empty. Nobody lives here anymore. And when I look back, I see we've got some more cracking in the skirt. That left corner there is actually dropped a quarter of an inch. It's water related. And because this block is actually put on a concrete wall, it matters. Sometimes if if there's not a concrete slab underneath, they just put some pier footings, so most of the structure is supported in the center. But since the concrete slab was poured first and the pier pads and the piers themselves are on the slab, when that slab cracks and settles like that, it makes a difference. It shows inside. This is the other corner here. This is dropped too. This is the biggest crack I've got. This is 3/8 of an inch on the corner. I have no doubt that if you could see the original siding, you'd see the buckle. So those cracks matter. When you see them, don't ignore them. At the back, they've tied in this roof with the original roof line. A lot of water damage. They didn't tie it in right. Water's actually running down into the structure. This shingle too is actually not designed for this pitch. It's too low. If you're going to do an asphalt shingle like this, you got to tighten up the courses. Look at the water just running out. That's all water damage underneath there. Typical outlets on the outside. Like to see GFCI protection. AC's already been stolen, and the leads are hot, so I just went ahead and capped it. The well house. We like to look inside. Just look at the holding tank, check the pressure, look for leaks, and look at the wellhead itself. This one looked pretty good. Pressure was a little low, but as long as it's between 40 and 80 pounds, and then the Schrader valve there on top of the holding tank, we like to test that just to see if we've got good pressure. If the bladder fails on those holding tanks, water actually comes out of that Schrader valve. Time for the fun part. Let's go underneath. So, tie down straps, these are pretty important. We like to see how it's tied down. This one's a little different. They've put rebar in the concrete slab and tied off to the rebar. I don't know how deep it goes, but that's satisfactory in their eyes for now. The humidity's high, it's starting to accumulate, and mildew mold on the rim joist, some of the floor joists. And then these manufactured homes, these mobile homes, they have like a vapor barrier on the underneath side. It's deteriorated. This pipe here, this black pipe, this is called ABS. This is a type of plastic they used in some of these in the waistlines. There's a few brands that are defective. This isn't one of them. There's our vapor barrier falling down. A lot of media wire, not a big deal. There's that outer rim joist. A little bit of water damage. A lot of huffing and puffing and grunting, crawling around under here. There's our waistline. This is an updated PVC waistline, but they've just got it laying on the ground, and they've got a brick supporting it in the middle. So it's actually, the pitch is wrong, so it can't flow downhill like it needs to. I like to look at, there's that skirt, that concrete block skirt wall, the CMU wall. I'm looking at the cracks to see if that actually transfers down and the slab is cracked, and it is just a little bit. There's the steel frame rails to the underneath side. And this one, I couldn't figure out. Seems like a lot of times when they run the ductwork for these, it's an afterthought. So they just come underneath and they put the ductwork on the ground. So a couple things happen when you do that. You lose efficiency and the animals seem to always tear it up. Here's the piers. These are hollow blocks. Not that it matters, but I like to look. And then the wood shims on top. They need to be hardwood or metal. For the most part, they're fine. I don't see any compression. Piers are spaced nice. And then since these are hollow CMU blocks, they need to be in the vertical position, upright, to where the void inside is straight up and down. That's stronger. And look at all this. This was the floor insulation, which is, it's great that these are insulated at the floor, but if you don't keep the animals out from underneath, that's what happens. They get torn up. So now we're missing insulation. There's that ductwork I was talking about. See, when you put it on the ground, because it's in contact with the ground, it tends to lose efficiency. And then, of course, the animals, they love tearing it apart, stealing the insulation for their own nests. And this one's just wide open. So I don't know how many years they were actually heating and cooling the crawl space, but that's all loose. And it's good ductwork. I mean, it's flexible insulated, but it's got to be hooked up. There's more of that floor insulation falling down. That's animals crawling up in there. I found a lot of scat under here, just verifying that the animals were here. I'm not a scat expert, so don't even ask me what kind of animal it was. I don't know. It all smells the same to me. You know, I'm kind of a fan of these. A lot of people don't like modular or mobile homes, but I mean, look at this steel, this steel frame. This is a very strong, rigid steel frame. I have more faith in these steel wide-flanged beams than I do some of the 2x8s they put on their houses. Outside buildings, we like to look at these. These are great places for termites. We can't put them in our state forms because it's not part of the structure, but put them in the regular report. This one looked pretty good. No termites on this one. Don't spend a lot of time there. You know, these inspections are kind of sad sometimes because you look at the things that are discarded. This box of trophies, one time this was a cherished thing and now it's just set out in the weather. It's kind of sad. What is it that, you know, the turn of events that made these not worth anything? I have no doubt when they bought this property they fell in love with it. They started projects. They couldn't wait for the new building, the clubhouse. They picked out where they were going to sit, watch the sunset. Here's where the tire swing's going to go. These are just projects that have had great aspirations, and for whatever reason, life changed. It's kind of sad. Hopefully, there's still life in this property. The new people will get in here, fix it up, finish that tire swing, and get on with their lives. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Subscribe to our channel and we'll keep you in the loop.